Hello, I'm Danielle Ernstbiker, and here's my audience, Misty the dog, and my father. Cocaine, psychedelics, cannabis, opioids, etc. All of these drugs have a bunch of negative connotations, and that's for a variety of reasons. One of them is due to the legality of these drugs, and of course, that's illegal. And then people have of course, some of the other negative connotations, that would be addiction. Countless lives have been ruined by it. And then we're thinking about, some people associate these drugs with devil worshippers. You know, marijuana's nickname would be the devil's lettuce. And then on the other hand, we're thinking about these drugs from a positive connotation. Some of these people associate these drugs with friendship, good get-togethers, you know, if you're going back to like the hippie age or whatever, and you know, all the good like highs or something, like, I don't know really, but you know, there's just so many different associations. I'm sorry, it's my dad, but all of these different associations with these drugs. I'm so sorry, my dad's making a face. And and here I'm going to tell you why all these drugs, even opioids, should be decriminalized. And the reason why is because obviously what we're doing right now is not working. And that is having most, if not all, these drugs illegal. What we need to be doing right now is helping those who use these drugs, especially if they have a problem that they want to be helped, even if they don't know it. And some of the ways through decriminalization of these drugs, and even some of these drugs making them legal, it can save tax dollars, if not profit, help those in need, and lower crime. First, decriminalization of all drugs could lower crime tremendously, as these drugs would no longer be illegal. So you'd be seeing a lot less people be getting arrested and inside of, you know, U.S. prisons and jails. According to the Rolling Stones in 2017, the U.S. made 1.63 million arrests, and 85% of those arrests were only for drug-related, well, all of them for drug-related arrests, but only 85% of them only for drug-related offenses. And that was up from 4% of 2016, and that's according to the Week. So this shows that the vast amount of people arrested for drugs are only for drugs, not for other things like murder and rape. And as we can see, it's continuously talked on the news about all the people inside of jails for drugs. And think about it, if we could free all these criminals and they could just go start their lives. Not criminals, like drug users. Anyway, when most of those are just using for themselves and shouldn't be punished for that. And then, of course, it goes with helping the addict/user. Second, we should not be wasting time punishing these people when they are the only ones that need help. Putting these people in jail when they simply just need help isn't fair to them. They need something more like rehabilitation. And I know there's some programs in jail and U.S. prisons, but I don't know as much about them. But I just feel like compared to something, there could be something a lot more spent on than sending all these people to jail and then arresting them compared to what we're doing now. The ACLU estimates that on any day, 137,000 people are in jail for drug-related offenses. Imagine if all those people could be released if drugs were decriminalized. what a difference could be made in the world today. There could be more education on drugs rather than all the talk about how these drugs should just be stopped and, you know, illegal, because there's always going to be a black market for these drugs if there's a demand, and we're not going to be able to stop it regardless. So we need more education rather than just trying to stop it. Thirdly, decriminalization of these drugs can save tremendous amounts of tax dollars, as less money will be being spent on having all these people in jail and then trying to arrest these people for just minor drug possession for just their own use. I mean, of course, there still needs to be arrest for those big deal drug dealers, but that's a whole different talk. And the police now can spend more time and more money trying to arrest the real deal criminals, like, you know, murderers and stuff, because that's something that needs to be spent more time on rather than just, you know, the meth addict around the corner. According to Oberg, you know, 26 states have decriminalized marijuana, but hardly anyone has decriminalized any other drugs, which I personally think is kind of unfair, as people are always going to do the other drugs. They're always going to be demanded, and we're not going to be able to stop it. People, and you know, in my opinion, almost other drugs should also be legalized, as think about all the tax dollars that could almost be made for it. But that's a whole different talk too. And of course, who knows what could happen from it. And we don't really know if people would get more addicted from it, and there could be a lot of negative outcomes. A couple of cities in California have decriminalized natural psychedelics, and they really haven't seen a up spike in their addiction or like rates of psychedelics, according to the Rolling Stones. And they mostly just did that because people use psychedelics there for, you know, mental health effects, apparently. So, that's interesting. So there just needs to be more awareness about these kind of issues. Overall, though, the decriminalization of drugs, of course, has a lot of pros and cons, but it does have a lot more pros, as people out there need to get the help they need, and they don't need to be punished for what they do, because people do things in drastic times and drastic measures, and anyone third low in the crime. And of course, this can save tons of tax dollars. It will lower tons of crimes. Hardly anyone will be in jail. I mean, not hardly, but less and less people will be in jails for drug-related crimes. And we can help who we need to help. Of course, a law like this will not be seen into full effect until, you know, years and years until it's put into effect, because who knows what could happen. Thank you.